That last video I made took like an hour and a half to load, which is rare. So I set the phone right next to me because if it goes onto the screensaver screen, it doesn't stop, or it stops, or it doesn't keep going, and it slows the video down even more. So you got to sit here while you're doing whatever you're doing in the office chair, and you move your finger, move the screen around so it stays to where it can load it. All right, so the phone went down to about 50%. So I grabbed it and charged it for a couple of hours, put my music on, get my local dose of my own self-indoctrination from NASA on my Scandus music people from Nils deGrasse Tyson and the podcasters, right? The people that had me thinking Jennifer Lopez is going to be my forever love one day. That's just mean. They had me thinking that from the time I was 4 years old, the time we moved to San Pablo. But you got to understand, they thought that I was a charismatic cult leader who gets all his powers and abilities from all the people that are ugly and stupid and can't hack it and are perverts and all this, and church child molesters and mass murderers and clan leaders and so on and so forth. So you can see why they're still so insidious about fucking that 4-year-old in the head, chasing the elusive butterfly of love of blah blonde, right? So I understand them, I just don't like them. And I don't trust them half as far as Johnny Rodriguez, jealous darling tuss Johnny Rodriguez, right? But if I haven't proven myself worthy of the lines of the apostles and messiahs in your head, zombie, by now, then you ain't never going to change. You're just a fucking asshole. If your technology says one day this guy will have to use technology to isolate, contain, and exterminate you to free the soul from the mind so a little child can be born that's living the Lord's Prayer instead of fucking people in the head over your ego with money, right? We're both going to have to be all right with that because that's about the only choice you've given us, right? So I understand that. So I'm not like, fuck, But so I was sitting there, I was listening to stuff, and I was doing I made 32, like I said, dynasties. I got Northern Illinois Huskies, because Noah really likes them. And that's up in Coach Henson's neck of the woods. And my sister and my brother-in-law have a real strong bond of affection, so does my nephews, to Coach Henson. I like Coach Henson a lot, too. And he's a part of that atrocious college sports scene. But you guys gotta understand, when he was here in the 60s, it was actually kind of fun for him and Coach Woodson, okay? Because they came out here in the Tulies. They were able to recruit and play and have them treated nicely on campus, okay? Because these were smaller communities, not quite as self-righteous hypocrite communities, even as in like Tempe with Joe Caldwell. You have to date and start having sex with black girls, coach. If you can find a black girl for me to date and have sex with, I will. But until then, all these hot blondes that are hitting women on me, I'm going to take advantage of this golden opportunity. He told me kidnapped him. He was going to go to USC. They put him in the car and kept going. He wanted to stay near his mom. His mom wanted to stay near. They kidnapped him, took him to Tempe, and he's poor and he couldn't get back. And you couldn't report it to the local authorities. It was the 1960s. Yeah, he said, I'm going to jump out of the car right here. You won't be able to play at USC. And they took him. And then he got there, and there was nothing but really good-looking blonde girls at Tempe. Oh, yeah. And that's who were all picking up and having sex with Joe, and Joe was having sex with them. And then he got told, hey, the locals don't like you having sex with all these hot blonde girls. That's all there is at ASU is hot blonde girls. Especially in the 1960s, there were no black girls at ASU to be found. They were all at Glendale Community College or New Mexico State, or I'm just kidding, some other small school, where the competition wasn't quite so fierce to be the most likely to succeed Yellow Rose of Arizona and Texas, right? So, yeah, it gets even. Women, see, guys, back in the 60s, when women were going to college, it was your most elite women, okay? If you were a black person, you had to go to an HBCU because they weren't giving you scholarships and they didn't want you competing with their elite women to be the elite leader women of the world. Even by the 1960s, it wasn't until after the 1970s and 80s, and then all that affirmative action bullshit and everything like that. Let's just use, lots of guys want to have sex with Lola Falana and Nichelle Nichols too. Okay. So let's use the sexiest bullshit artist to keep the bullshit arting. Okay, farting? Here's a Red Bull. Right? So you got to understand how these assholes work. They've been this way in symbiotic relationship for over 100,000 years, guys. If Albert Einstein, Jesus, and Muhammad, and the Buddha, and Confucius, and Tao, and all that have anything intelligent to say about it, right? Okay. Wow, genetics. It's what's for supper. You're eating at the Y. Don't. No. I mean, if you're constantly having to sexually gratify your wife to keep her satisfied and happy, that's a real pain in the ass. But I was playing with the stuff, and it was with a picture of Pancha and Lawrence on the thing. And we started sitting there, and I was connecting to my son, and, and they talk about, when I talk about self-righteous hypocrites, all the liberals think I'm talking about the conservatives. And the conservatives think I'm just talking about them. Okay. And Patrick was dating this woman that was a drug dealer named Diane, right? And Diane had kids, and Diane made more money than Stephanie. And Diane's kids were baby's kids on crack, right? And Stephanie did not like Diane's kids and didn't like having them in the house, right? Especially around her son. Okay, not around my son. You don't do that around my son. It's like you don't do anything around your son except to have sex with drug dealers at the bar. And then as soon as you find out I have one to sex with, you drop him off at my house at all hours of the morning and everything. And if you think you're losing money on your tax returns, you make it real inconvenient and economically just terrible for all of us because she thinks she's getting the money. And then she comes back and bitches at you. It cost me $4,000 last year to pick him up and drop him off to get the tax refund. The tax refund was only $1,200. Welcome to my world, won't you? And it costs us more money too, okay? But if you hadn't been doing that, trying to get the $1,200, we all would have saved gas money. We all would have saved time. And Patrick would have had more time here, hanging out with Amir, don't drink no beer. Pat, don't be a brat. Jose, don't run away. And having Jeremy show up and saying, hey, you want to help my little sister smile? We could all be and laugh. We could all be heroes. Right? Doing that kind of stuff, okay? Instead of arguing with Aunt Kay that Daddy's peach, Mommy's brown, and Patrick's tan, and trying to explain to the 40-year-old, you watch too much Oprah and eat too much bonbons, and you can't get your degree from Ken Burns movies, documentaries, whatever. Okay? Do you understand? Shit, is that Morgan Freeman and Danny Glover? Whoa! And all the top acting talent in the whole world talking about like they was Samuel Clemens and Walt Whitman and Frederick Douglass or Dorner Truth and Harriet Beecher Stowe, right? Fuck, we suck again. I know. And so you'd be sitting there with these people and you'd be like, no, man, son, okay? Your mom was having sex with drug dealers and they were making more money than her. But she didn't want her kids there, but she wanted you there. Diane was a drug dealer. Okay, people could have come to the apartment and shot everybody in the house because your mom was having sex with a drug dealer. Okay. And Diane ain't like your dad that can have a claw hammer by the door and kill 4 people coming in trying to execute everybody in the apartment better than Keanu Reeves's and Denzel Washington's imagination. Yeah. It's hard when you're fat and out of shape and tired and poisoned, but when the adrenaline and the dopamine goes off, there's a bunch of dead drug dealers laying in the grass at Casa Mia, grazing in the grass. Then I was young and used to exercise and work out. Tried to get myself in shape, but I've never been able to get in as good of optimal shape as I always wanted because the military and their scientists and special forces have always been jealous of me because of my sexual reputation and because of my capacity to protect people that are bullied from people that are bullies. And they've always gotten my face. And they got real bad when they moved me and Amy to Sierra Vista. And then when we got back here, it's like, God damn, seriously? And you have a 12-inch dick? And you used to see Link for Aerosmith? But Steven Tyler had a bigger dick and kicked you off the band? I'm just kidding. Who cares? No one really cares. No. Okay, horses have bigger penises than you. Can horses give you the Lord's Prayer and save you from being mass murdered by the Roman Empire? No, you can take a horse, put blinders on the side of it, run it right off a cliff, and make a Tom Selleck movie out of it. Yeah, just go up to Alberta and get a bunch of idiots together that want to build old buildings and dress in old clothes and get the action. Boom. If you want to know how I really feel, just get the cameras rolling, get the action going. Baby, you know the money for the fuck is real, so take me where you want to. We'll put on show to pay our bills. More and more and more. Kevin Costner, Robert Duvall, more and more and more. Tommy Lee Jones, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Sly Stallone, more and more. Wesley Snipes, and he's got the pipes, and more and more. Billy Bong Thornton, more and more. Angie Bassett. I was sitting there watching a video of Anyone Who Had a Heart with Miss Dionne Warwick, and she was, oh my gosh, Angie Bassett kind of looks like her. Okay, in certain ways, yeah. Oh, Angie Bassett, man, when I was young, I was like, oh my gosh, she was like, because of her strength and her, I'm not going to take any shit, and her bone structure and her lips and her figure stuff. She was like, damn that Eddie Murphy, that's no fair. I want to be a vampire and look good. She was like the ultimate, and oh my gosh, sexual prize to survive hell and stand up to hell, sexual achievement of all women, right? Angela Bassett, right? When I was growing up, she was the one, right? Oh my gosh, it's Angie Bassett, right? And then she turned down Monsters Ball because she didn't want to have sex with Billy Bong Thornton. It's like, no, she didn't have sex with Lawrence Fishburne. It was a rape scene that wasn't overly graphic. And then afterwards, she kicked his ass in the back of the limo, right? Go hit him again, Angie, right? Mrs. Sassafras Class for all of us that think talking out our ass, right? So back then I was right to have a crush on her because we were all stuck in hell. But after January 22nd, 2013, it's hard for me to crush on anybody but me, really. So who do you crush on the most? Me. I did think the weather girl that's on the radio station, like Kiss FM or whatever in El Paso, Iris Lopez or whatever, I think she's cute. I still think she's cute. Right. And then the sports girl on that nose, because she's really cute. She went to school where I went to school, but I went there like 30 years before. But yeah, B. Martinez's, her hair is, I love her hair. Sit there and look at it. It's like, I feel like Pee-wee. Remember that one when he touched the girl's hair when on the Pee-wee movie? I'm not a pervert. Like, Paul Rubens was stuck in hell and had trouble dealing with people and society and stuff. You become real rich and famous and be real attracted to real attractive women, but they won't take you seriously because you're you're Kansas City star. That's what I are. And if you have sex with attractive women, you have to go to Nevada to get the Pahrump experience. And if you try to order a bride from the Philippines who's gorgeous, she's only doing it for the money and she don't really love you. She may act like she loves you, but the moment you leave the house and she hires a real hot pool boy, you know he's in there Jennifer her Tilly on Liar Liar. Yeah. And you say, well, Gerald Alston was this and that. I understand Gerald Alston's played the whole, But with me, I was movie star good looks. More intelligent than any asshole that thinks they're intelligent getting a Nobel Prize and a check from a bunch of child molesting, home invading, murdering dicks. Okay. Could kick Mr. McCall's ass with Constantine's and John Wick's ass. Get you what the fuck, right? And didn't even know it. I always had to stand up to, I was talking about Corey about the other day, it's like my whole life, man. When it was private, and I would tell the drug dealers, you do that, they would turn like a ghost. That boy's going to kill me, right? Unless they were real stupid, like the mule next door with the woman that stepped in between me and him and saved his life and his two buddies' life that had their nines in there behind there where all them assholes keep them back here in the belt, all right? Because I knew exactly what I was going to do. I was going to slam his ass in between that and the door, reach over, grab the 9-toot the suit fuckers on the couch, call the cops and say, hi, I'm a decorated Desert Storm vet. Could you come clean this mess up? And the cops would have came in and said, Wow, instead of the Bert Henry gang, we got the Earl part. Well, yeah, everybody knows about Earl. Okay, it's been this way. You know about me. You don't know about me. You're not. I didn't color Ohio's people. We're in city, not county. No, they still had the county and city. Ohio was a God. Ohio is a pile of shit. Okay, and he always will be, unless he can stand up for the Lord's Prayer. He's always going to be a pile of shit, right? And so you've got to understand that. So when you see somebody and you think you're righteous, okay, and then you're saying these other people are self-righteous, okay, are you living the Lord's Prayer, or are you dating a drug dealer and saying that culture, okay, is good enough for your kid, but you don't want the drug dealer's kids around because they act trifling, okay? So you want the money, but you don't want the crime that goes with the money. You know the crime's going to follow the money. Like when I told her when she got that job and they said, these people are horrible and they're racist. And I sat there and I said, what? But they hired you, Steffi. You came in guys' clothes, wearing men's cologne. Okay. I'm pretty sure, okay, if you come in wearing guys' clothes and you bring your art resume, your art portfolio in, and these people, wow, you're very talented, and they hire you, I'm pretty sure the moment they interviewed you, they knew you were homosexual. Okay, a woman that shows up wearing Drakkar Noir and dressed like LL Cool J, okay, at her job interview, but only he's dressed up because he's, they know she's gay. It wasn't that. As Diane started showing up at work, and Diane was a drug dealer. And then they all started fearing for their safety in case something happened with Diane, why Diane showed up to see Stephanie. I explained that to her. That's not what's happening. That's exactly what's fucking happening. Okay? Okay. So, you'll have sex with a drug dealer, okay, with me? No, Amy was the baby mama of a drug dealer, okay? And I said to myself, she ended up on my doorstep. She's bipolar like Steffi. Other people won't put up with that, and they won't put up with raising the child of a 6'5", 265-pound drug dealer, okay? So most people know no one's going to touch this woman and this baby with a 10-foot polecat. They are fucked. She came up to me and said, you're touched. You got, yeah, I know. I got what I know. What I got. I know what you. And then Patrick sits there and has the audacity to sit there all these years afterwards asking me, why did you date Amy? Because she needed me and Natty needed me, okay? And I was there. And when people need and they want to help try to share and fulfill your needs, and you can fulfill their needs better than David Rockefeller, better than Stan Lee's imagination, better than Denzel Washington, better than Keanu Reeves, and better than Rock Johnson, you step up and you fucking deliver, right? You stand and deliver, right? And I did, above and beyond any Call of Duty. More than Gordon B. Hinckley wants to admit, Dave Miscavige wants to admit, Tom Cruise wants to admit, John McCain was willing to admit, Barack Obama's willing to admit, Oprah Winfrey's willing to admit, Joe Rogan's willing to admit, Kash Patel, what's that smell? If those people don't know who I am, if Tom Nolan and Kristi Noem don't know who I am, okay? You do know that most people in Western civilization were taught to read from the Holy Bible. And my life story is the source of the book of Revelation, right? So if they don't know who I am, they're functionally illiterate. And they're so fucked up and insane, they must think Adam is the original gangster who was the first pimp to pimp Eve to all the people that were willing to give rocks to him to fuck her. Holy covenants, Batman, shut up. What's your superpower? I got lots of money. Okay. You leaving the Players Club? Could do something to make me smile, Charlie. Get the bazooka out the trunk. Right? Is that Luther Campbell's sorry ass? Think Lisa Ray will date me after this? Okay. You funny. I know I was funny, Troy, man. Trust me, man. I know funny and I was funny, yo. Okay, Earl. Funny as can be, early is he. Yeah, always has been, man. Man, when you're really, really intelligent and can point out the blatantly obvious to self-righteous, stupid people because they're being selfish, I mean, you make everybody laugh, but then everybody sits there and goes, how does that apply to me? Like me and John Gilbert. When I sat there and I told you I was working at Fry's, we in the break room, and I'm looking at that chart in a town that's on a fixed population because it's a military control zone, and they're wanting to make more money off of feeding these people food. And it's like, no, you're in a place that has a population that does not fluctuate because it's controlled population-wise by the military. So they're just doing this to fuck with Steve. I remember telling Steve that they fucked with him all the time. All the people in Phoenix got all the best stuff, and they gave all the shit to Sierra Vista. And then all the assholes in Sierra Vista came and gave Steve shit, and then would write the company and rip off the company because they didn't want to lose him as a customer, and they felt they had to. Why? Because this is from a military guy in Sierra Vista. They did that. It pissed me off. Steve got mad at me. He's, Earl, you can't do that. This old white dude, this old retired motherfucker comes in and says he does this every year. Makes $500 off the company. I said, oh, hell no. So I go tell Steve, no, I ain't going to do it. I ain't giving it to him. He goes, you're going to give it to him. No, I'm not. Right? If this was a black kid that lived in Frytown, you would call the cops and have him incarcerated for conspiracy to commit a crime. Okay? But it's an old retired genocidal vet who you guys all shit your pants because he'll have his buddies come to your house and fuck your wife and videotape it and sit there and do it in a little black mask and say, next time I say give me something, you give it to me. Or I'm fucking your dog in the ass at the same time, and then I'm going to fuck your wife after I fuck your dog in the ass. And then make you lick the condom clean. That's how they are at Fort Huachuca. That's how John Wick really is. Those are his business partners. Okay? Man, you ever heard that Marty Robbins song, This Time You Gave Me a Mountain I never climbed? I never wanted to climb that mountain. I never wanted to see that mountain. Jesus would ask me at first, Earl, are you ready for this? I'd say, oh, hell no. Hell no, Jesus. And it took us a long time at first to get everything fixed and in line and get my ducks in a row and understand it. They had to send me Mark, who was 6'5", 285 pounds, German Apache that had a scar from here to here from two German men that got killed in prison trying to slit his throat in the shower. Okay, he's one of the, to most people that are scared of people, well, Mark was one of the scariest people alive. We hit it off immediately. We were like best friends from the moment we met, and my wife was like, Earl, Ralphie, you're best friends with that guy? He's really great. He's a really sweet guy. He loves his wife. He loves his kids. He doesn't want anybody to fuck with his wives and kids. And he just wants to snuggle his wife, have his daughters have a good life, and be left alone by assholes that home invade and mass murder over money. He's one of the nicest guys you've ever met. He just happens to be 6'5", 285, work out 6 days a week. Okay. His wife's a little tiny Chiricahua woman, or she might have been Navajo, but she's tiny, right? She ran the house. Anything that, if mama ain't happy, nobody happy, right? And then they'd make jokes and say, oh, everything, look at how floofy and very nice and everything, and the decor and the female decor in the bedroom and all the nice fluffy pillows. He goes, no, that's all my decor and that's my pillows. Yeah, she's old Navajo. I'm the one who likes all the fluffy soft stuff. Yeah, it was hilarious. I was like, you're kidding. That is one of the greatest stories ever, right? And then there was a story about the militia man. Yeah, Mark was an artist that sold trinkets that he used to sell for beer, with this old snotty lady that was an art dealer in Santa Fe. And he showed up when he wanted, and she used to bitch at him all the time. He says, yeah, they're just trinkets. If I would have known that rich white people paid $10,000 for them, I wouldn't have made them just for beer money in Gallup when I was when I was young, right? Mark, shh, she'd always tell him to shut up. And it's like, what are people going to do? They're always going to, they'll give him the $10,000. They're terrified of the man. He was the best. But he drove around in an old Bronco so as not to attract attention from thieves with all this artwork that's very expensive, right? And so he showed up in his old Bronco. He drove it everywhere. He loved his old Bronco. And he had his son with him. He was very young. And they were checking out this plot of land that he was thinking about buying. Well, this fucking militia man comes up, this well-to-do Cochise County rancher comes up and starts questioning me. He said, I'm thinking about buying. He goes, no, you're not. You're doing this and you're waiting for a drug deal. I said, with the little boy? He goes, no, I'm not. I'm not doing that to distract or anything like that. He wanted to come with me and he wanted to see if we liked the spread. No, you're not. And then the guy had his rifle and was poking Mark in the chest with the rifle. He goes, please don't do that. That's dangerous, and especially around the boy. And the man, what are you going to do about it? He kept doing it. So Mark grabbed the barrel of the barrel of the rifle and then proceeded to take the butt and shove it into the man's face and crushed his face with it. He said, I probably shouldn't have done that in front of the boy. I was like, Dad, you were just teaching him how to be a good German Apache Viking, German Apache Viking or Visigoth or whatever, wherever, whenever. You're doing your job, Dad. Okay. It's funny. Thanks, Ralph. Probably shouldn't have done that in front of the boy. We live in Cochise County. He probably seen worse on TV, but afterwards he said, well, no one's going to come and shove a gun into my dad's chest when he asked him not to do it because he doesn't want anything to happen to the boy without getting his face crushed in. Yes, have to eat Christmas dinner through a straw. Kermit Washington or Rudy Tomjanovich, right? So forgive debt and trespass, love one, eternal, faithful peace. And a lot of this drama and bullshit will just be laid to rest, right? Sound cool? Well, it doesn't matter if it sounds cool to you. It matters if it sounds cool to me and me teaching quantum computing technology, the standard of male human behavior on a daily basis since July 19th, 1966. Pick up sticks. Ow! So who gone and done did that thing down all right? Hi. You a physical scientist at the Pentagon? Carol? Who done gone and done did that thing down all right? My best friend in the service was Brian Leroy Hall, who hung out with Grant Hill's parents. They were the Huxtables of D.C. and stuff, and it just so happened, I went down and got to meet everybody and do all this stuff, and it's like I don't even exist. Yeah. I don't think the celebrities and the power brokers and the Stephen A. Smiths of the world even see it coming. But if you go read the Bible, it says, when it happens, it's like it's not happening. And when it changes, it goes, pow! We're in a restaurant in Wyoming. And you drunks have been bugging Cameron Manheim, who has having a hard time because she lost her daughter swimming in a river because we had to make money for propaganda. So I'm going to go serve them, take the coffee pot to the head, stick the fork right under the chin, and say, it's amazing how your life can change just like that, right? And then we're going to ride home on our bikes, and they would look really ridiculous if we didn't have those big orange safety flags. You're funny. It's an unfinished life, right? Don't try to win awards. Just try to love faithfully, okay? Winning and losing is for insane people. Loving faithfully is for righteousness rules. So I'll forgive you this time, for you are being very ignorant, not insignificant. I just hope you hope to be dope as me. I can hear you flee because the press is too much for you. If you can read the Bible and understand it and cut out all the mythology, it's happening just the way it said. And if you'll read the Bible, you read the Quran, you read the Torah, and you read the books from the Hindus and the so on and so on and so forth, they all correlate because it's truth and the proof of truth of faithful love all communing together to deliver us from evil, with the perfect example of a perfect man during the apocalypse when they use their technology to try to circumvent the omnipotence of God with human delusions of power and authority through, I know what you're doing, yeah, I know why you say you love me, I know what you're doing, yeah, and it's not gonna work this time. Fishing for religion? Okay, you don't have to. Okay, you don't have to fish for religion. You have to understand religion, and you do that with gracious humility and gratitude for the gift of life from infinite glory, like Pascal's triangle and wager. Hallelujah, brother. Cool. Okay, let's load this one up. If you're a righteous person, you'll appreciate what I have to say to you because you understand how I eternally love you. If you're a self-righteous or selfish person, you'll be all pissed off and say, I hate that motherfucker. He points out everything fucked up I do. So you'll stop doing it because I love you. Okay, I love you very much. All right, peace out, man.